You are now listening to the Do It Movement podcast, where we share our experiences in real estate investing and encourage you to take action. You don't want to miss what we have in store today, so let's welcome our host, Martine Richardson, and our co-host, Eubanks.
What's up, Do It Movement listeners? This is your host, Martine Richardson, your buy and hold coach. And I am joined today with my co-host, Lori Eubanks. How you doing today, Lori?
Hey girl, hey, I'm doing great. Excited to be here with you.
Excited. We got a good one for you guys. These are the secret conversations we have in secret.
Yes.
But no, we're going to talk about showing me the money. Let's show the folks the money. The biggest thing, well, maybe not the biggest thing. One of the things I hear when people are like, well, how do I be whole? Like, where are these people with this money that you talk about? These private lenders, where can I find them? So today we're going to just like really dissect it and talk about like what the deals need to look like, how to structure the money, how to get the money, how to show people how they can be the money. This is going to be a good one, I think.
I love it. I'm excited because it's the number one problem. Like, your first focus is find the deal, and they say if you get it 70% or under loan to value, all in and under, you can find the money. So it's like your first focus is get that deal, but then when you get that deal, you're like, what do I do? So Martine, your first deal that you borrowed from, what steps did you take? You know, when you got the deal, what was the next step for you?
So I got to think back here. We got to go back in the Rolodex.
Ooh.
So the first one that I got some money for, I remember it was a duplex. I had a duplex that I really didn't want to sell it. And just to give you guys some context, if you don't know yet, my background is wholesaling. I started in real estate wholesaling because that's all I knew how to do. Not because I was a beginner, not because I couldn't buy and hold. That's all I knew how to do. So I made the most with what I knew how to do. But then, as things shifted, I went in someone's house and I asked them if they would take the payments or would they want the cash offer, right? I asked everyone this, and everyone would always say the cash offer. So when this person told me they take the payments, I'm like, oh shit, you'll take the payment? Nobody will take the payments. But what I really learned and what I was so grateful about from that experience is that experience made me really dive deep into how can I keep these properties. When I realized that I was getting money from work I did a long time ago, I kept getting every month money from work I did a long time ago. I said, oh my, this is it. This is what I had been looking for all along. I wanted time and freedom, and this was it. So it made me really like look into how to do that. And when I first started, the first deal I needed to get some money for, if I'm honest, I didn't know how to do it. Didn't know how to do it. The only thing I knew how to do was I knew what a good deal looked like. I knew like how much money I could put on the deal. Meaning you want to make sure you're putting people in safe positions. So like, I'm not going to go to someone and ask them to fund a deal for me and say, I want you to fund 90% loan to value. I want you to fund 100% of what this house is worth. No, that's putting someone in a risky position. And I'm not in business to do that. I want to put people in safe positions. So I knew from my wholesaling background that people bought things for 70% all in. So I knew they bought it for the purchase plus the rehab had to be 70% all in. So from that, what I learned is that, okay, so the people that are keeping them, they're buying them 70% all in. I need to be 70% all in. So, okay, I'm already good at making deals. I can leverage someone's experience for the construction stuff because repairs and construction is not my strong point. My strong point is deal structuring. So I get someone in to help me estimate the repairs to make sure that we're all in at 70%. And then I knew that now I can go out and ask someone for the money to get it. But if I'm honest, I didn't know what type of rate to give people. I didn't know how long they needed to be in the deal. I didn't know anything. I just figured, well, if I can just get someone to agree to give me some money on this deal, we can make it happen. So I just opened my mouth. I went to meetups and I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this deal. I'm looking for it. It wasn't even a ton of money. It was like maybe like $50,000 for a duplex. It was amazing. I was like, I'm looking for 50,000 so I can, close on this deal. And I'm just talking to people and just letting them know what I'm doing, not really asking people for money. And then a lender comes over to me and she says, a woman, she says, I'll lend you the money for the deal. And I said, really?
Are you sure? You were like, you weren't expecting the yes.
I wasn't expecting the yes, but then we ended up doing that deal. That's one of my best lenders to this day. Very easy to work
Wow.
with. And she showed me how to structure the deal. She
Oh,
believed in me.
God.
She believed in me. She knew that I had found a good deal. She liked the area and she decided that she wanted to do the deal and she showed me how to structure it.
That's amazing. And I mean, it's amazing just sharing it. And like you said, you weren't out there asking for the money, you were sharing what you can give someone. And I think we all assume like it's hard asking for money, but no, you have the opportunity and you're sharing the opportunity with people that's helping them as well. Because a lot of times we're paying interest payments that might help their retirement or and then think about it, like maybe a lot of people said no for this one, but when you came back with another deal, they're like, oh, she's serious. She's getting all these great
Right.
deals. And eventually, if they're lending, they are going to warm up to you and, you're protecting them. So I love that. And did that like have a mental shift for you, like where you felt like, oh, the money is there? Did it change your mindset doing that deal?
I already knew the money was there.
Yes,
People were buying my deals and I saw they had lenders. I knew the money was there.
that's right.
So I don't think I had like a mental shift in terms of like, oh wow, this is possible. But it was nice knowing as I continue to buy and keep properties, the amount of people once I learned how to structure things, the amount of people that said yes, that wanted to do it. But yeah, let's get this out of the ball out of my court. Let's talk about you, Lori. What did it look like when I think, if I recall correctly, your first deal was you wanted it to be a flip, but it ended up being a
Yeah.
hold. But
Yes.
I guess tell us about that journey of how did you know how to structure it? How did you know to where to get the money from and all that good stuff?
I didn't know any of it. I would go to Ria's and they would say offer half off what they're asking. So I just threw out numbers directly to their agents. And so finally when I got one, I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? Like, are you sure you want my offer?
Right.
So it was extremely low, but it was a huge rehab. And of course, I estimated the rehab wrong. I definitely underestimated how much work it was going to take. And thank goodness I bought it for like 35,000. I bought it so cheap. It didn't matter that it had mold, fire, termites, and getting shut down by the city. So and the contractor taking the deposit.
Everything that you could imagine happened.
Yes, and I'm very grateful for those lessons to happen on the first one, but that can definitely break someone if you're buying at a higher dollar, and you're in it too much. So, make sure you do the due diligence on the deal, but when you do that, for me, it was asking people that I knew. So I asked all the people around me, everyone at RIA, and I ended up finding private funds to do the deal with a family member. So they believed in me and we were able to renovate it, but it took way longer and it took more money. And then my real estate agent, she was like, you've owned it for more than 9 months. You can just refinance to the bank because you have a W-2 job still. So for me, I was like, all right, that's amazing. So refi that private money out. And they were like, we can do another deal. And I'm like, really? Well, we're not doing any total gut deals. So I ended up getting into cosmetic deals, but I started sharing with other people what I was doing. So I was starting to pick up other private lenders that were proactively asking me what I have. And, oh, I have a retirement account, I need to work, or, so they saw it as a safe investment. We're always protecting, with first lien position, interest payments, and on our buy and holds. So I think for me, my relationship with money was difficult because I was in a hustle situation, a sink or swim. So for me, asking for someone for money, it didn't feel great because I didn't realize that people needed me. I was just thinking like, who's going to help me through this situation? So for me, once I got some private money, I just felt like my mindset changed, and I'm like, there's tons of money everywhere. And I'll never forget, me and you, Martine, going to some of the groups that are, for IRAs, for retirement accounts. We would go to these groups and we would share that we have deals, and you were just in the right room, where people are like, well, we have money, we need to work. In fact, Martine made t-shirts for us one year. Martine, you remember what the shirt said?
Yes, it says, got money, I have deals. Something like that, right?
Yes. And I remember standing in the back of the room, and people were just walking by handing me their cards, like, and I was just like, this is amazing. So, but, for me, the relationship with money, just being scared to ask and, getting over that fear, not realizing you have the gold. So I think, that really unlocked it for me. But today, let's talk about today. When you get a deal today and you need funding, what are the steps? What are you sending to the potential lender to show your deal, showcase it?
Right. That's a great question, because I wanted us to like really dive deep into this so you guys can take away what we're saying and actually use it in your business. Like, I want this to be a step-by-step instruction on how to make it happen. So prior to you sending this information to your lender, I would encourage you to actually know your lender. Do not send this blindly to people that do not know you. A lot of the times they will ignore you. They'll say, where do I know you from? And you guys ask me how I know. I won't tell you. But but really work on building relationships with people that are lending, or teach people that you already have a great relationship with. In my opinion, unless someone is showing you how to structure the money on a deal, I think it would be best for you to do a couple of deals first so you can see what it looks like before trying to teach something that you've never done before. Like, we don't want the blind leading the blind here. So when usually I send an email to my lender, and these are people I already have a great relationship with. And the things that you want to give them is, first, you want to know what this property is worth. So you're going to go and use whatever platform you use to pull comps, and basically get 3 properties that you'd start in a half-mile radius. If you can get 0.25-mile radius, that's even better. The closer, the better. But you want to find houses that have sold within the last 6 months. You want to make sure that the square footage is 300 square feet below what your property is, 300 square feet higher than what your property is. So you can get a nice range of properties. And you want them to have the same beds and baths. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get that. Like, maybe you have a weird bed and bath. I know, like me, for instance, I really love 2-bedroom, 2 baths. But a lot of times you don't see that when you're pulling comps. So try to get the same beds and baths as best as possible. But so you're going to pull the comps. You want to pull 3 comps. And comps are just comparables. You want the house to look the same, like, as best as you can. Like, if you're looking at a rancher, you want the comps to be ranchers. You don't want the comp to be a Cape Cod, or you don't want it to be a colonial, different types of houses. And if you don't know what types of houses these are, just Google it. It will come up. But yeah, you want to get similar types of houses that sold within a specific time frame so you can kind of get the value. Now, once you see what these properties sold for, you want to get the price per square foot. And once you get the price per square foot, you're going to want to get the average of the 3 that you just pulled, and you're going to multiply that by the square footage of the house that you're looking at. And then you're gonna determine that is the ARV, which is the after repair value. Now these houses are pretty. Don't get the ugly. If you're doing that, you're finding how much a cash sale would be. But you want to look to see what it's going to be worth when it's pretty. So you take the ARV. Once you get that ARV, you're going to multiply it by 70% because this is the top dollar that you want to be all in at. We've said it 5 million times. We'll say it 5 million more. 70% is the top dollar. Do not go and send your lenders 80%, 85, 90%. They don't like that. Shame on you. No, you're putting people's money at risk. You want to make sure people are in safe positions. So you're going to multiply it by 70%. And usually this is the most amount of money that you will get from someone for this property. So for me, I don't want to use any of my money when I'm doing these deals. So I want to make sure that I'm all in at that number. So I want my purchase and my rehab to be that 70% number. So great, you got that number. This is what that's how much you'll be asking for. Then I like to let lenders know what I want. I don't like the guessing game. I don't like, hey, do you have some money to give me, please? I want to make I'm not in the begging game. I'm in the giving opportunities game. So look, let's just make it easy numbers. I need $100,000. I need it for 6 months. I need it for 8 months. I can offer you this amount of return. You can say, I offer you 10% return, whatever the amount of return makes sense for your deal. So I'm going to offer you 10% on this deal. I'm closing by this day. Here are some pictures. So you'll have a link for pictures. I've noticed that in emails, especially if you have a lot of pictures, it's not best to throw all your pictures on the email. It's best to have it in a drive somewhere. Click it so that they can look at it from that drive and it's not taking up all the space for your email. Because you can actually have a folder that has all the information on it. So like when you pull the comps, you can have that comp report of these are the houses I found and this is how I got that value. So that they can, they trust you, but verify, of course. Okay, yeah, I see that. That's what it's worth. Okay, then once you say you're showing them pictures of the property, you said how much you want, you said how long you want it, you're saying how much return I'm going to give you. You can let them know that this is my scope of work. You can say, look, this is what I plan on doing with this property. I'm doing blah, 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 whatever you're going to do to the property. And then you have to let them know what your exit strategy is. How are they going to get their money back? Yeah. So what's big is that people are always talking about, I want a great return on my money. I want a great return on my money, which is great, but return of the money is better. How am I going to get my money back? So a way to see how they're going to get their money back, you're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to refinance this into a longer term mortgage. I'm going to tell you from the buy and hold standpoint, because this is what I do. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to refinance this into a longer term mortgage in 8 months. That by that time we'll have a tenant. This is how much the rent is for the property. And then I think I pretty much put everything in there. Did I skip one?
Something on that? You had the comps, the pictures, the summary of what you need, and probably details of closing date, making sure.
Right. I knew it was something I needed to add. So closing date, you're in first lien position. A lot of the lenders I'm working with, I don't like to put people in second lien position, so I don't even have to say that. Yeah. Like if I'm going to put someone in second, which is rare, I'm upfront about it. I'm like, look, I need this amount of money and you're going to be in second lien position. Are you okay with that? And then some people are like, yeah, it's fine. It's no big deal. But some people are like, no way.
Yeah.
So we like to keep people in first lien position.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is that you want your lender comfortable with the deal and, not worried that there's any risk because you're making calculated moves. As long as you're not paying more than 70% all in, you'll be able to buy and sell, rehab, all those numbers are going in. So, you want to make sure that they feel good, that it's really a truly win-win. Because I've actually had a lender where, when the market changed during COVID, we had some lenders that were really uncomfortable with real estate all of a sudden, just because of so much uncertainty. in the world. Because they knew that it was under 70%, it was easy just to refinance to a different lender, whether that was with the bank or a different private lender.
Right.
But yeah, I love the relationships that we have with our lenders because it's allowing them to grow and them not actually having to do the deal. So really, truly, you're helping them a lot of times with their income needs or retirement growing.
Right. So let's talk about the relationship piece. So we've showed them, okay, great. This is what I send this person when I'm ready to close on this deal. But who am I sending it to? How do I build the relationships with the people if I don't already know them? Let's talk about that. How does that look for you?
I love showing up because like you having that, I can see you, you are real. And then, a lot of the group activities, you start getting to know what's important to them. But one of my favorite ways was through our cruises.
That's right.
We used to go on real estate cruises, and you could do that through masterminds, any networking groups, sorry, that get together. Go to those groups, really spend time. And the reason the cruise ships were amazing, you're on a boat, you can't get off until you get to port, and so you're spending time, you're going to be there, you're spending time getting to know people. It's very intentional way of really getting intimate. And then you get off and you do excursions and fun activities. And so, I love to have fun and see people in that element. So that was my favorite way. But outside of that, locally, I know one time I asked all of like family, friends, colleagues, anyone that was interested in investing in real estate, I invited them all to come to Mexico restaurant all at one time. And I presented 7 rentals. It was my first portfolio package that I had ever gotten. And I presented the package, and I had them fill out a little flyer, a little survey at the end that said, how much are you investing? When would you like to? What are you interested in? It was just very basic. And it was surprising how many friends and family members actually did have money on the side waiting to invest. So it was just a great way to get that out there. And I still go back to you saying you don't ask for money, because the biggest thing I've learned through this journey is if you ask for advice, you get help. If you ask for help, you get advice. So the best way is, to share what you're doing and let that organically happen. Because best line is, hey, do you know anyone that's looking to invest in this deal? It's $100,000. Feel free to share it with anyone you know. And sometimes that person will say, I have that. Let's talk more. And it's just a great way. You're not like coming directly to them for help.
Right. And then just to touch on the cruises that you were talking about, they actually still have these cruises. It's now, I'm going to give them a shout out. It's a Facebook group. It's called Investor Addicts. And if you join that group, you get to learn about all of these cruises that people are going on. But what people are doing is they're really developing deep relationships with people while having fun so that they can do business with each other later. One way I know that works really well in terms of getting more lenders, if you don't know anybody that you can go to, is just going to local meetups. If you go to local meetups, and like sometimes if you are like introducing everyone, the crowd is introducing themselves, and usually if someone gets up and says they're a lender, a lot of the times they're hard money lenders. Like, I just want to let you know, hard money and private money are a little bit different, but this is not what this episode is about. It's just about getting the money. But people will stand up and they'll say, I'm a private money lender, or I'm a hard money lender, or these are people that you probably want to develop a better relationship with to see if this is somebody that you actually want to do business with. I'll give you guys even a little secret. People, like if someone gets up and says, I've been a landlord, right? And you go over to them and you talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, I've been a landlord for 25 years and I've been doing this and this and that. I just want to let you know that these people can lend. I don't know if they are lending, but they can lend. Yeah. So by going over and just getting to know the landlords, that can help you develop a private money relationship that can help you in terms of acquiring your deals. So one great way that Lori and I did to develop some really good relationships was to go to lunch. I
Yes.
don't know what it is about food,
It's
but
so
food
good.
makes people instantly like you. And
Yeah.
especially if you make the conversation about them. And then when you get to a point where you're like, well, let me see if this is like somebody I would actually want to work with. Like one great thing about this business and any business really is you can work with whoever you want to work with. Just because someone says they're a lender, it doesn't mean that you have to work with them, because maybe you guys values don't align. Maybe you guys don't do business the same. Maybe, me personally, based off of experience, I would prefer to work with someone that we had the same vision, we work well together, over working with someone that's going to get on my nerves, a headache, micromanage me. I don't have time for that. Like at this point, I always say at this big age, I'm not doing that anymore. So find out who you think that you would be a good fit for working together. And like if you do a deal with this person and then you find out later on, man, this deal sucked, like I really don't want to work with them anymore, you can, once that deal is over, you can decide not to work with them again. You don't have to keep going to the same people. You have the power to make this look how you want to look. So one thing I want to talk about and touch on right now is, I think one thing that was really like a game changer for me that I didn't know anything about until actually I met Jim. I didn't know anything about it. But he had videos. I was in his mastermind group, and he had videos showing you how people could use their retirement to invest in real estate. And he specifically was talking about self-directed IRAs. So people have, retirement accounts, IRAs, they might be investing it in, the stock market. That's usually what you hear people invest in. But if they rolled their money over into these self-directed accounts, they could use that money to invest in your deals. And I said, wow, this is amazing, because it gives people the upside of pretty much making as much, they control how much money they make. And then, but they have to invest the money because it's not going to just start investing itself. So what I learned is the more I taught people about that, especially trying to teach them about the Roth option, it allowed people to want to start investing in my deals. Do you have any experience of like someone that may not have known about self-directed accounts that you kind of shared this with and it kind of opened their eyes?
Absolutely. And think about a lot of people that are moving jobs, moving careers. They have retirement accounts. Well, when they move to a different employer, that's an opportunity to change their 401k to self-directed. And, it's kind of amazing because, during all of the market changes, when you would check your 401k that was like at Fidelity, let's say, you have no control of what's going on. It's just up or down or sideways. And so when you move the money to self-directed and you work out a deal with, a real estate investor, you're going to get paid interest or maybe a percentage of profit or interest, whichever way you work out. And they're just having to move it to self-directed account. And then, in the actual note, it's not them that's lending, it's the actual retirement account. So it's their 401k name to Martine. And so it's secured just like any regular person. It's secured on the real estate with that retirement account.
Yeah, and people, they aren't just using like IRAs or 401ks. You can have self-directed ESAs, which are education savings accounts. So you can actually save money for your kids' education and you have control on where the money goes. I know a lot of people like to use 529s, and I'm not knocking 529s, but let's say you want to be more aggressive, you want to be more active, you want to invest your money the way you want to invest it. And let's say that just happens to be real estate. Shameless plug. But you can take these deals, you could take these different accounts and like the ESA, for instance, and you could start investing to grow it for your child's future. Like, and this can cover private school. This can cover like books, computers, internet, college, all of this stuff. And you have the power, because the benefit of investing in one of these accounts as opposed to just investing in the outside world would just be your regular bank account. The benefit is that once you make a gain, you don't have to pay tax on that gain if it's a Roth account. So like if it's a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, ESA, HSA, which is a health savings account, these different vehicles, it allows you to grow in a tax-free environment. And I don't know if you like the tax man or not. This is not what we're going to talk about today, but just know that if you don't have to continuously pay tax every time you have a transaction, that allows your money to grow faster, allows it to build and grow to a nice, healthy sum faster. And then like one thing that I learned that was like a super game changer, like let's say your kids are in school right now, right? And you're like, man, I really would want something to help pay for this, because like this is costing me a lot of money. As long as the account is set up, it does not matter if the money is in there to pay for school right now or not. So this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, let's say, I'll use you for instance. Lori has a daughter that is going to be going to college soon. And let's say we set up an ESA for her right now. But right now it doesn't have that much money in it, because I think for an ESA, the most that you can put into it is about $1,500 a year. So not like a lot of money. But if you started it now, right, and you put that $1,500 in there and you started investing that money and making it grow really big, you can pay for her school now, but you can get all your money back because the account was already there.
What? I've never heard of it.
If that's not a game changer, I don't know what is. So basically you're just paying, but you're kind of just like saving your money up, because you know you're going to get a big check back because you're going to provide all the receipts showing that you use this money to pay it. And it's because the account is in place. Now, if the account is not in place, you only can go back to when the account started. Okay. But that's it. Because like my daughter's young, but like we play around with the idea of should she go to regular school or should she go to private school. Like we're fully into this. So like we can help the money grow in a tax-free environment. And even if we have to foot the bill right now or when it starts, as long as that account has started, we can always pay ourselves back. So it's like getting a huge tax return check.
I had no idea this was a thing. I'm so grateful you shared that. That's amazing.
I'm trying to show me the money. This is what this episode is called. Wow. I want you guys to be, just think about things differently. Like not only can real estate change your life in this way, but it can help you pay for things, and it can help you pay for things in a tax-free environment. You can do the same thing with an HSA. Like as long as the account is in place, you can pay yourself back for stuff that you pay for out of pocket later on. So these vehicles, and I know they're like underutilized, and I think it's just because people don't know about them that much. But just think, this information, right? You're listening to this podcast, you got this information. This is what I do, by the way. I do this with one of my friends. Like we are big Eagles fans, right? And I know football, but do I really know football? So I talked to one of my friends, and he's like a coach. Like the things that he sees, nobody sees unless you're a coach. So like I go to people and I just repeat what he tells me. He'll say, well, the defensive end, they didn't do this, and that. If they would have did this to the quarterback, then we would have been able to stop that and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I will go to someone else that let's say they say, oh, I like the Eagles. And I'm like, oh, great. Did you see that game? This, and that. I would just regurgitate everything he just told me. And I will sound so smart. They're like, even my husband, I told him this stuff. He's like, how do you know this? And I'm like, I'm smart.
Take
But
a
what
note.
I'm getting, but what I'm getting at, guys, is you can take this information that we're giving you and give it to other people, and you're gonna look smart. They're like, how did you know that? And then they're gonna go and fact check it and like, dang, she was right. Especially like if you can give them places that they can go and stuff like that. So this is another question I think will be good, since if you're gonna talk to people about self-directed accounts, where are some good places that people can go to get those accounts? Do you have anybody off the top of your head? I know this is
Kind of put
the
me on the spot here. So I know several. I don't know which one is the best, but I use a different one for my 401k than I do my other accounts. We have inherited IRAs. So, I think maybe one turnoff is just the paperwork, just keeping track of the accounts. Maybe some people feel like maybe that's not worth it, but it truly is. Once you see the benefit and investing it and growing for all the different reasons, it's just think of it as like buckets. But, I would say do your research, ask your community who they recommend. I know there's different companies growing and buying others. And so I know some of them is Inspira. I know there's Equity Trust, Broad Financial is, so just a ton of different ones. Do you have any that you know or have worked with?
So I'm not recommending anyone. Everyone do your own research. We're not a paid sponsor for any of these companies. So I just want to help you like know where to go and then do your own research to see if that's a place you would actually want to park your money. So I know UDirect is one. Directed is one.
Yes.
I think you said Equity Trust already. I believe you said that already. What is Broad Financial for 401ks or is for IRAs?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's they've been pretty easy to work with.
Okay. Yeah, so off the top of my head, it's one that's right in North Carolina that I can't put my name on. I can't think of it at the moment, but I remember seeing a guy at one of the meetings and it was right in North Carolina. But
That's a good point. They all have meetings, right? They all have virtual gatherings and different things you can connect with other investors.
Right. So yeah, definitely utilize Google. Try to see, can you find their website, see if they're having any events, see if you like the people, see if they're speaking your language. And then what I found is when you go to these events and you start talking to people, you start hearing about their journey. Like it was one guy I remember I met at one of the events, and I think he was still an engineer if I'm not mistaken, but he loved to invest with his IRA because he had made so much money. And he was so happy that it was in a tax-free account, meaning that his money grew tax-free, and it just allowed him to make like really compound his return so much. So like he was fully like invested in learning how to do this, and just hearing his story was great because he had no intention of like wanting to leave his job or anything like that. He just wanted to invest his money. He loved seeing it grow so rapidly, and it was amazing for him. And it was just really nice hearing his story. And then also you go to these events and you see about like what type of investments people are doing. So like you'll hear that, people use this to buy they use their IRA to buy this, and then they grew it to this amount and they partnered with people. Like it's just so many things that you can do to help grow your account quicker. So I want to encourage you, yes, you can start with people that you know, and if you've done a couple of deals and you know what the deals look like, you can kind of give them an idea of how they can get into the deals, and then you can start mentioning retirement accounts and how they can get self-directed retirement accounts so they can start investing in your deals. They can start being your lender for your deals and things like that. But yeah, once you really get into it, it's a world of so many things that will just like explode your mind. Like, my God, they use an IRA to buy that? It's amazing.
It really is. So I'm grateful you shared that because I mean that college tip, the ESA, that's worth it. I mean, I've had some people share like they bought hot tubs with their HSA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've like there's just so much that if you're already planning on doing, see if it qualifies because what better way
Mm-hmm.
than to spend money out of your pocket, use it from a tax-free account.
Because
So
a lot of the times when you're doing stuff like that, it's just like you just need the doctor's approval. I remember we didn't use an HSA, but we bought a treadmill for our house out of a FSA, and it was because the doctor approved it. The doctor said you guys need to exercise.
I love it. We should probably provide a list to our listeners of, what type
Mm,
of accounts, of
mm.
investing accounts that we've seen and heard. And I'm sure there's some that we don't even know about.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But yeah, so I hope that, this episode was helpful for you guys because the world of money is limitless, especially when you're not using your own money. And like, if you use your own money to do everything, you're going to limit yourself because eventually you're going to run out. But if you build a network of people that want to make a good return on their money and they invest in your deals, you're creating win-win situations. You know how
Yes.
to structure this money so that they are in a safe position. You are going to be golden. You're going to be able to grow as big as you want to grow. It's amazing. And if you don't believe us, go out and try it for yourself and you'll see. But Lori, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to talk more to you about different things, what's the best way to reach you?
I'm on all the social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. So, and also my email will be in the show notes. So if you want to talk real estate, if you want to talk deals, I'm a deal maker here in Virginia. So if you are looking to lend, to partner, to just talk real estate, hit me up and hope to be able to connect.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. If you guys want to reach me, the best way to reach me is through my free buy and hold community. We talk all things buy and hold investing. It's on Facebook. It's called The Freedom Inc. We only have 4 questions for you to answer. Once you answer those questions, I will let you into the group. But yeah, thanks for tuning in today, guys. I hope to see you in the group. Lori hopes that you're sending her some deals in her email. But until next time, Do It Movement listeners, see ya!
Thank you for tuning into our show. If you need more hand-holding on your rental property investor journey, book a 15-minute strategy session with Martine. We can see if you're a fit for the Freedom Inc. fam, link in the show notes. Also be sure to join the free Freedom Inc. Facebook group, where each week Martine goes over a real-life rental property investor deal and shows you how the deal was found, how to get the money, and how to make a cash flow and much more. If you'd like to connect with Lori, be sure to email her at vitalizeproperties@live.com. Until next time, see you.